Hello and thanks for joining us on this week's State of Events. I'm Nicolette Stewart.
And I'm Michelle Gong. Let's go to our top story. Campus safety is always a concern here at SF State. The University Police Department is working to make this campus a safer community. State of Events, Tessa Kleinbell is live with us to talk about UPD's steps in doing that.
Thanks, Michelle. In mid-September, SF State appointed its newest police chief. I spoke with the chief about his background and overall goals he has to decrease the crime rate here on campus.
SF State has a new police chief in town, Assistant Vice Principal for Campus Safety and Chief of Police Jason Wu, a San Francisco native who before served as commanding officer for the United States Park Police, where he earned many badges and medals, but his most important honor, being a father.
And then I decided to be a stay-home dad to raise my kids.
The kids are all grown up and he's back in uniform. SF State could expect something a little different from him.
Definitely there are going to be changes. The goals that I have for the University Police Department is to be more engaging with the community. If you see something, say something. We do request our community to help us be our eyes and ears.
He also gave us some tips on how to stay safe.
Walk in pairs with groups of people. Have your phone readily available. If you feel unsafe, uncomfortable going from one area of the campus to another, call our police department.
And they're on the way.
Chief Jason Wu also encouraged the student body to stay alert and unplug from devices that can cause students to become distracted and vulnerable. Reporting live, I'm Tessa Kleinbell. Nicolette, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Tessa. This year has seen a significant increase in police officer deaths. One California assemblyman believes that the public must do more to protect those who serve to protect us. State of Events reporter Michael Overby joins us in the studio with more. Michael?
That's right, Nicolette. The National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund reports that 62 officers have died so far this year. One may ask, what can be done to curb this unfortunate upswing? One assemblyman believes he may have the answer.
Meet Jay Obernolt, a California State Assemblyman from Big Bear. Obernolt believes that this surge in officer-targeted deaths needs to stop.
And that really inspired me to raise awareness of this issue by introducing Assembly Bill 2, which would add the status as a peace officer to the list of things that constitute a hate crime in California. Assembly
Bill 2, as it's being called, will call to question what exactly defines a hate crime. It has been known that hate crimes usually relate to race, ethnicity, or gender. There is no precedent for a hate crime relating to a job, which explains why this bill is likely to face opposition. While the wave of officer-related deaths is on the rise, so are deaths by police officers. California is not alone in acting what has been called the Blue Lives Matter bill. Colorado is one such state where a similar bill has been introduced. Editorial boards from both the Denver Post and LA Times have expressed a negative opinion on these bills, citing that existing penalties are enough for cop killers.
We still have some ways to go until the bill is brought to a vote, but you can be sure State of Events will keep you updated. Michelle, back to you.
In an overwhelming landmark vote, Congress approved the 21st Century Cures Act. Abene Clayton has an overview of the new law in this live report. Abene?
The act allocates almost $2 billion in the new fund for cures innovations. The money will go towards medical research and improved access to health care. But some worry that corporate interests will play a larger role than lawmakers admit.
Cheers to cures!
The specific areas of research are unknown, but President Obama says that the Cures Act will fix some public health issues
that could help unlock a cure for Alzheimer's, end cancer as we know it, and help people seeking treatment for opioid addiction finally get the help they need.
The FDA says that it will speed up its review and approval process, but Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren says that may not lead to cures.
But pushing treatments without scientific evidence that they work is fraud. It also undercuts the development of real cures.
Even though it has bipartisan support, Warren questions the financial motives of the Act's supporters.
This funding is political cover for huge giveaways to giant drug companies.
The Cures Act will also establish a new cabinet position, Secretary of Mental Health and Drug Abuse. The job aims to fix flaws in the criminal justice system when it comes to mental health. The new position will be chosen by President-elect Trump. Live in the newsroom, I'm Abene Clayton, State of Events. Back to you in the studio.
An anti-abortion group is organizing a pro-life rally led by the organization Walk for Life West Coast. The rally is set to take place at the Civic Center. Ohio recently passed a bill that would ban abortions after 22 weeks, and states including Alabama and Oklahoma are trying to ban abortion as well. And the organization travels state to peacefully protest. The walk in San Francisco will take place January 22nd. Visit the State of Events Facebook page for more information.
And up next, as families are decorating their homes for the holidays, so is the SFSU. And they're using it as a donation opportunity. We'll take a look at it next on State of Events.
And a new shoe company is approaching shoemaking in a unique way. We have details on when that will launch when we come back from the break.
Committed to professional health care because your child's health is our first priority. Valencia Health Services. Quality time because we care.
If you think you're seeing more mosquitoes around California, you may be right. A new study shows these pests are growing fast in our state. State of Events reporter Andriana Shepard joins us in the studio with the buzz.
Thanks, Michelle. The new study says California's mosquitoes have increased tenfold over the last 5 decades, and human habitats may be what they prefer. San Francisco State is no stranger to mosquitoes. Student Lizzie Arenas knows that sound all too well. She lives on campus close to plenty of puddles, where mosquitoes like to reproduce.
I hate all of them. I hate mosquitoes. I hate what they do to my body. I get allergic reactions.
A report from UC Santa Cruz says California's mosquito populations are on the rise.
They're the worst. They're everywhere. I hate them.
Associate Professor Marm Kirkpatrick says the major drivers in trends in mosquito populations were, in fact, changes in chemicals, especially DDT, which was used in a widespread way for both agricultural and mosquito control and land use. So basically, the urbanization of these landscapes. This decreases the mosquito population that prefers habitats more natural in nature and increases those that prefer human habitats. This also increases public health risks. These mosquitoes that prefer human habitats tend to be the mosquitoes that carry the West Nile and Zika viruses. To avoid mosquitoes, the San Francisco Department of Public Health says to look for standing water. They suggest turning over buckets of still water or even using safe mosquito dunks. If that is still not enough, call 311. I'm Andriana Shepard, State of Events. Nicolette, back to you.
Thanks, Andriana. Hunting is a controversial sport that has received a lot of backlash from all over the world. Reporter Chloe Ortega is live on Holloway with the story.
Hunters over the years have come under fire for their sport. I spoke with a hunter to get his perspective on why he hunts. Hunting. It's a sport that's looked down upon by many people. There was a petition page to remove a hunter's Facebook page with over 5,000 likes. This is just one example of people condemning the sport.
And people that have, that have been far removed for that for generations tend to think that hunting is about killing. It's about killing an animal. It's not about the pursuit and harvesting food for your family.
Mike Burrell is a hunter. He loves the outdoors and has traveled all over the world to hunt for animals like wild sheep or elk. As a hunter, he has to pay numerous fees in order to hunt.
Attacks on weapons, firearms, ammunition, archery, hunting clothing, etc. And that money is also directed then back to the states to use toward these fish and wildlife agencies to manage this whole process.
As a hunter, he is well aware of the backlash of his sport.
The things I hear from people who are professed to be against it, they never understand what's involved in the process, how much effort's going into it. They don't understand that, and they seem to think that it's all about killing. And while killing, harvesting an animal is a piece of hunting, it's just a small piece. It's the anticipation, the planning, the getting to the right place, moving in such a way as to be able to get close enough to an animal undetected is huge. I suppose I also like the fact that not everybody can do it. And I'm okay if people don't want to hunt. All I really ask is don't criticize or condemn me for hunting without at least understanding it.
According to the National Wildlife Federation, 83% of the money going towards wildlife conservation comes from hunters. However, PETA believes this is nothing more than a violent form of recreation. From San Francisco, I'm Chloe Ortega, State of Events. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chloe. If you're looking for a fun holiday outing, the San Francisco Zoo is hosting its annual Zoo Lights event from December 16th through the 30th. The zoo will be all decked out in trimmings and lights. This year, the zoo is partnering with Play Shoes and will give out complimentary shoes to the first 1,000 children with paid admission on opening weekend. For every pair of shoes they give out, the SFSU and Play Shoes will donate a pair of shoes to various children's charities.
Kickstarter is an online campaign for anyone to launch a business idea. Film projects and gadgets have all found success on the site, and so have eco-friendly shoes. We're with State of Events reporter Thelma Annan with the details.
Thanks, Nicolette. Last weekend, Z Shoes had a launch party for their eco-friendly sneakers. Funded through a Kickstarter campaign, the brand is taking a conscious step forward.
The Norwegian Church of San Francisco certainly had something to celebrate.
Don't hurt nobody! Don't hurt yourself!
There, Z Shoes launched their new sneaker line. The event had drinks, snacks, and a performance by Grammy-nominated Aloe Black.
So wake me up when it's all over. When I'm wiser and I'm older.
Z Shoes is different from other brands in their quest for environmental responsibility. After a trip to the Amazon, Zach and David Broadstone saw the possibilities of a movement.
The next generation is Generation Z, so we're playing off that idea of growing, so that now this is a model of how the next generation of footwear should be.
If we can find ways in which the materials that we can reuse, especially for shoes, it just kind of seems like a no-brainer.
Made 95% of biodegradable materials, the duo created a Kickstarter campaign.
With a goal of $25,000, Z Shoes reached over $35,000. The success of their campaign is proof of a new shopping mentality. Their ethos, a shoe without a footprint, may be the beginning of conscious shopping. From the studio, this is Thelma Annan, State of Events. Back to you, Michelle.
All right, thanks, Thelma. Emergency repair crews are busy trying to fix walls protecting the SFO runway. We have an update on the construction when we get back.
Also, Uber and Lyft are making money off rides to SFO. It's another story about BART. We'll take a look at that issue after the break.
Propel yourself by pursuing your global health education. Educate yourself by understanding the world's cultural challenges. Challenge yourself by learning the clinical skills you aspire to find. Find yourself with Child Family Health International. How will you distinguish yourself? Visit CFHI.
Welcome back to State of Events. Apple and Samsung are used to competing with each other in retail stores, but this time the feud extended to the Supreme Court. State of Events' Andrew Bry has more of the patent law that is shaking up the technology sector.
The Supreme Court ruling in favor of Samsung was a big win for developers, other than Tim Cook and Apple. But how the landscape of tech will change has yet to be seen.
In Washington, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of Samsung in a long-standing legal dispute with Apple. The justices found that the design patent for Apple's iPhone was infringed upon, but only parts of it. Samsung will still owe money to Apple, but only a fraction of the requested $400 million. The claim that Samsung copied the aesthetic design of the iPhone's exterior and user interface did not hold up against the judges. A verdict of 8-0 was found in favor of the Korean conglomerate. This patent case had large impacts upon other tech giants. The likes of Facebook and Google supported Samsung throughout the lawsuit. They claimed that computer science and development is far too complex and would be a disruption of further advancement in computer engineering in the future. Samsung has certainly had a down year. They've had multiple product recalls and were recently involved in corruption allegations that ousted the Korean president Park Geun-hye. This legal victory can be seen as a silver lining in what has been a very bleak and tumultuous 2016. For State of Events, I'm Andrew Bry.
Thanks, Andrew. BART lines to SFO are continuing to lose ridership. According to the Examiner, Uber and Lyft usage has increased sixfold. Uilani Gray is live in San Francisco to give us more details.
Uber and Lyft were officially approved to use SFO in 2014. Since then, BART has seen a reduction in ridership. BART's officials said Uber and Lyft have changed the transportation environment.
The BART SFO line looked like a ghost town during the midday commute, while outside, several Uber and Lyft cars were buzzing in and out with passengers.
For starters, I love the easy access of Lyft and Uber. I just call them and they're there at my door. I don't have to lug all my luggage around to the BART, to the bus stop, and just too much of a hassle to begin with.
Some of the people benefiting are drivers for ride-sharing companies.
I work for both Uber and Lyft, and I do prefer getting rides to and from the airport. They're pretty much the most, in terms of like shorter rides, the most lucrative ones that I get.
Groups traveling to and from the airport save money using ride-sharing companies, whereas with BART riders, they have to pay individually. BART has the challenge of appealing to those looking for ease and affordability.
BART said the solution is not budget cuts, it's growing their ridership. They said one of the solutions is group benefits. That sounds good to me. We are live in San Francisco. I'm Uilani Gray, and this is State of Events.
Thanks, Uilani. San Francisco is set to spend more than $1 million to fix what city officials are calling a threat to SFO. The issue is an eroding seawall, and time is of the essence. The damage is so severe, consultants say that the wall is in critical condition and is likely to fail. Repairs are set to start as early as next month.
The tragic fire that killed 36 at the Oakland Ghost Ship warehouse reveals the continuing problem of finding affordable housing in the Bay Area. State of Events' Alicia Mayo has been looking into the issue and has this live report.
Oakland's homeless and housing crisis is growing rapidly. Some are living in tent cities. Others have created alternative housing solutions like Ghost Ship and Ware Homes. While some go as far as posting on Facebook their requests for shared spaces and rooms for rent.
But it seems like there are more artists than there are spaces. That's why you have artists in crowded spaces, because there's not enough space, so they can have adequate space. Yeah. So we solved that, we just need more space on this. Mm-hmm. And all this is a public safety issue. Mm-hmm. You know, we had the fiery Ghost Ship with artists, right? Now we have a homeless population that's increased in Oakland. That's an accident waiting to happen. You know it's not gonna stay like that. At some point, something's gonna happen because there's too many people underneath freeways, too many tents.
Now, just 1 week after one of the country's most deadly fires, warehouse residents throughout the Bay Area are concerned that they'll now be added to the growing number of homeless. You can follow me and more on this story by going to my Facebook page at Alicia Mayo News. I'm Alicia Mayo in San Francisco for State of Events.
Many say the biggest journey for young adults is to find themselves and their passions. Many balance school, work, friends, and family, but some have more on their plate. A significant number of students here at SF State are homeless and are forced to sleep in motels, friends' couches, and even in their cars. Reporter Avery Peterson from the Golden Gate Express has been looking into the issue and joins me. Thank you so much for being here, Avery.
Thanks for having me.
So, it was a big project that you took on. How widespread is this issue?
I reached out to the San Francisco State community, and I was able to get a lot of students who are currently homeless or were homeless in the past, so I would say it's pretty widespread. We don't have hard data on it, though.
Okay. And what are some resources that some of the homeless students can take advantage of?
Right now at San Francisco State, there's not a lot of resources. They're working on creating new resources, but right now they have a loan that students can get. I believe they have emergency housing, but it's really hard to get into. So right now there's just not a lot of resources for students.
All right, and you've been working on another project. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so I noticed when I was reaching out to students, a lot of the homeless students that were getting back to me were had spent time in prison or had criminal records. So I'm working on a project that looks at the increased struggle students have that got out of prison or have criminal records that are currently homeless.
And I'm sure it's, 1,000 times harder for them to get resources that they would need to be in school and to stay in school and find housing.
Yeah, it's hard. They carry around a criminal record wherever they go. That eliminates a lot of housing. That eliminates a lot of options for aid. And plus, there's just a huge stigma. They face 2 stigmas, having a criminal record and being homeless. So that makes it really difficult.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing your work on that. We're truly excited.
Thank you.
And, if you'd like to watch Avery's work, we'll have a link to it on the State of Events Facebook page. Back to you, Nicolette.
Thanks, Michelle. The holidays are almost here, and Golden Gate Transit will be delivering toys to Marin residents. We have more on how you can help after the break. And people in Santa costumes flooded San Francisco this past weekend. Many ignored the rain to participate in the yearly event. More on that story when we return.
Here for the interviews?
I have a 3.93 GPA, 35 on my MCATs. What about you?
Graduated with a 4.0, 33 MCAT, and studied in Bolivia with Child Family Health International.
What'd you do?
We shadowed local doctors, saw the realities of healthcare on the ground, and got immersed in the international community.
And it's for all health science students?
Mm-hmm.
The professor will see you now.
Personal growth, professional exposure. Child Family Health International. Let the world change you. For more info, visit cfhi.org.
Welcome back to State of Events. Well, by now we know the story. The Chiefs control the AFC West after beating the Raiders in Kansas City last Thursday. Derek Carr and the Raiders go from being the first seed in the AFC to fighting for a wild card spot. But the battle for a division title, well, it's still up for grabs.
The Raiders are back to work, but with an eye on Kansas City. In order for Oakland to win the division, they need to win the last 3 games and hope someone can beat the Red Hot Chiefs. Head coach Jack Del Rio says the team needs to regroup before heading to San Diego.
We're going to learn the lessons, and there are lessons to be learned in every ball game, win or lose. And we're going to learn the lessons, gain that experience, and then go forward.
As for their neighbors, it continues to go from bad to worse. Last Sunday, the Niners lost to the Jets 23-17. And not only did they lose their 12th straight game, for the 3rd time this season, they failed to win a game after leading by 14 points. Reports have started to surface that general manager Trent Baalke will likely be fired at the end of the season. CEO Jed York is expected to release a statement about the team's future after the Niners host Seattle in their season finale.
Turning now to college basketball, San Francisco State's men's basketball team is off to a historic start. They're currently 10-0 and rank in the top 25 in Division II basketball. State of Events' Michelle Gong was able to talk to the Gators about their tremendous start.
The Gators are off to an unprecedented start. Their 10-0 record is the best to start a season since the 1941-42 team, which had a 9-0 start. They rank 2nd in the nation for field goal percentage defense, and they are one of a handful of Division II teams still undefeated. With 5 seniors on the team, head coach Paul Trevor says that their success is due to a strong veteran presence.
I think it's because we have so many returners. So many guys who've been here, done that, been in the league, who've paid their dues and sweated it out over years, and now they're getting the rewards of all that hard work.
Coach Trevor says that he and everyone on the team take the most pride in their defense.
Their defense, 2nd ranked in the country. We lock down, we hold teams to 35%, and we're just one of the best defensive teams I've ever coached.
One of the star seniors this year is center A.J. Cologne. Cologne currently averages a double-double and has been named Hero Sports D2 Men's Basketball Hero of the Week and CCAA Player of the Week. He recorded his 6th double-double this past Saturday against Simpson University. The Gators have always had a team-first mentality, and that goes for individual accolades too. Center A.J. Cologne says that it's exciting to see his teammates being recognized on the national level.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just a testament of how hard we're working and how hard we worked during the summer. And the fact that we're showing up on the national stage just proves that we can be a national level team. It doesn't have to stop beyond aiming for our conference banner. We can go for something much more bigger than that.
The Gators know that it's early and that it's a long season. They are set to face one of their toughest opponents, Humboldt State, this Sunday at the Swamp. Reporting from San Francisco, Michelle Gong, State of Events.
In 2012, Andreas Duval made the transition from being a javelin thrower at UCLA to an Olympic bobsledder. This summer, the Bay Area native hopes to qualify for the Winter Olympics in South Korea. Earlier today, I was able to talk to the 28-year-old about why he decided to take bobsledding.
Andreas Duval's bobsledding career has been quite a ride. In 2014, Duval was given the opportunity to go to Sochi as an Olympic alternate. He says that experience was a blessing in disguise because now he knows what's required to being successful at the Olympic level.
The amount of stress that's put on your body and on your mind, it definitely takes some recovery. So I'm approaching this with better recovery, training smarter, and not wearing myself out so that I know that when it does really count, I'm at my peak.
But of course, he didn't learn those values by himself. In 2002, Duval was introduced to the Rieke Center, where he learned the importance of proper weight training.
It's taken a lot of sacrifices on Andres' part. I know he's put some professional situations on hold. I know personal situations are on hold for him a lot. It's just a great sacrifice. We tend to look at only the well-paid professional athletes out there, but these are the type of athletes that are kind of under the radar, that have to work almost twice as hard.
And speaking of work, on top of being a professional athlete, Duval is an infrastructure and security engineer, so he understands balancing both aspects of his life can be difficult, but that has never discouraged him to following his dreams.
I'm a firm believer that anybody can achieve anything. Doesn't matter what anybody says, as long as you stay true to yourself and keep pursuing your dream and work towards it in an honest, humble, and disciplined manner.
Reporting from Menlo Park, Victor Anguiano, State of Events.
Golden Gate Transit is collecting toys for children in several Bay Area locations. The transit line is teaming up with the Marine Toys for Tots Foundation for this year's Stuff the Bus. It will be collecting toys for the less fortunate at their San Francisco, Marin, and Sonoma service lines during non-service hours. For more information about how you can donate, you can visit goldengate.org/howtogive.
Santa Clauses were spotted all over the city this past Saturday. However, they weren't there to pass out gifts. Here's State of Events' Tanya Zelke with the event details on this live report.
Thanks, Nicolette. SantaCon SF stormed the city this past Saturday. However, the rain didn't wash away the holiday spirit.
Thousands of people dressed as Santa crowded the bar scene last Saturday. Why? Because it's fun. Monique Needode has taken part in SantaCon for the last 6 years.
Know that every bar you're going to go to is going to be elbow to elbow, and you're going to be very friendly with everyone like this. Yep. And have a good time.
Over 380 cities in 580 countries participate in the event, and it is free to attend, with donations optional. However, the 7-day rainstorm that hit San Francisco switched up the SantaCon tradition. Participant Jocelyn Vu talks about her preparations for this year.
I am wearing a rain poncho, and I'm going to wear this hat, which I think will protect me. And honestly, you're mostly in a bar most of the time, so it doesn't really matter.
Continue to stay dry and out of trouble. There is still 10 more days till Christmas. In San Francisco, Tanya Zelke, State of Events. Back to you guys in the studio.
And that's going to be it for today's State of Events.
Thank you for tuning in with us every week this semester. We'll be back next semester.
Happy holidays, everyone.